Frank Gore, Morris Claiborne, and Sebastian Janikowski are NFL players with an undesirable commonality. The three scored below a 10 on the Wonderlic test, which measures a person's ability to think, learn, solve problems, and follow directions. A score of 10 is considered to be literate. Unless you have an extraordinary talent, you will need a score more impressive than those on a standardized test like the ACT or SAT in order to get into a quality college and live a successful life. The topic of standardized tests, like the ACT and SAT, is fresh in our minds because we only took them a few years ago. I encourage you to look past the pain in the neck that they are and realize the undeniable benefits of these tests. We should maintain the use of standardized tests because they provide a non-biased and objective analysis of students' competence and also prepares them for the real world. As I progress through this speech, I will first explain the importance of maintaining standardized testing based on the points that they are objective and reliable, and it proves that it improves the ability of a person to prepare for the real world. I will then visualize the disadvantages of what a nation would look like without these tests. First, I'm going to look at why standardized tests are reliable and objective. Standardized tests allow a student to prove what information they learn in school. Since these tests provide a numerical value, the test is objective and provides an easy judgment of the student's competence. Also, the test is multiple choice, allowing there to be no gray area because the answer is either right or wrong. Standardized tests also do not discriminate. These tests are taken by all students, no matter their race or learning level, because the information is essential to the learning process. Former Washington, D.C. Schools Chancellor Michelle Rhee was quoted saying, "You can't separate them. To do so, it would create two unequal systems, one with accountability and one without it." Secondly, I'm going to analyze why standardized tests are important to prepare students for the real world. When high school graduates arrive at college, they will quickly learn that the workload is way more important than the workload in high school. That is why it is essential for these students to learn good study skills while in high school so they can excel when it matters. Students practice for standardized tests throughout high school and study at home, which is work that they will need to put in order to be successful in college. If a student wants to become a doctor, lawyer, accountant, or a real estate agent, they will have to take entrance exams in order to do so. That prepares them for tests like ACT and SAT. These entrance exams will be a lot more complex, but the ACT and SAT will at least give them experience and allow them to gain more knowledge in taking an exam. Also, the more test-taking experience a student gets, the higher scores they will receive when they take them again. Research gathered by ACT.org determined that 57% of students received a higher score the second time they take an ACT as opposed to the first time. By preparing students early, they will adopt a college-level academics quickly. Finally, imagine what a nation would look like without standardized tests. Students are compared to each other by colleges based upon their GPA and a standardized test score. Without standardized test scores, colleges would have to decide on an applicant based upon their GPA solely, and that varies from school to school. This puts students at a disadvantage who challenge themselves and took harder classes than others, because the GPA is just a number and does not show all the information that they learned in high school. Standardized test scores are used to compare states to see how they measure up. This gives educational researchers a better idea of which states excel in teaching and which states need improvement. In 2012, Massachusetts had the highest average ACT composite score with a score of 24.1. Meanwhile, Mississippi had the lowest average ACT composite score with a score of 18.7, according to ACT.org. Without those tests, researchers would not have been able to compare students in other states in order to improve education in this magnificent country. In conclusion, maintaining standardized testings will be beneficial for the entire nation. These tests provide objective information based upon students so colleges can see the amount of competence they have. Standardized tests prepare students for more various and important life after high school. Without these tests, they would not have any other way to sufficiently gauge the amount of knowledge that these students obtain in high school.